Shalom, 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 my brothers and sisters. Shalom, peace and greetings to my brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians who are scattered worldwide. Welcome and happy Sabbath to you all. And welcome to another end of the week Sabbath class. I'm your brother Ananias for A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. And it's an honor and privilege as always to come before you each and every Sabbath and every class to be able to give you a lesson with regards to uplifting you and edifying you in the spirit. But before we get started, we want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being his son, who the world calls Christ, in the Paleo Hebrew. And due to his strength, sacrifice, and example, we are all able to be here today to be uplifted and edified in the spirit. But I just want to give a shout out to you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. For those brothers and sisters who are new to this truth, welcome. For those who tune in and week out, special welcome to you. Good to see you. Make sure that you hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Share the content as well, because these classes are put together for our brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel, because it's brothers and sisters who are awakened to this truth. It's our job, once we learn, to teach our brothers and sisters so that we can get out of this hellish condition that we are in, or this hellhole that we living in, called Babylon the Great, or America as you know it. But nonetheless, we got to come together in these last days, teach each other, uplift each other, motivate each other to push forward so that we can get out of here, And part of these things, or one way that we help build each other is by teaching, because nobody else in the world is going to teach us who we are and what we are supposed to be doing. They'll give us feel-good speeches, or they'll tell us how to make money, things of that nature. But they're not going to tell us what we need to hear. They're not going to give us the answers to our problems, to our situations, our trials and our tribulations. And that's what we aim to do. Brothers just like myself and others all around the world are giving lessons to waken our brothers and sisters up in these last days. Why? Because that's our job. It's our commandment. It's commanded of us to do so. So we're going to do just that because we love our people. We're not worried about the other nations. We're worried about our people right now. We have to come together. And it's high time we wake up in these last days, But today's class is called Lust, Your One-Way Ticket to Damnation. Lust, Your One-Way Ticket to Damnation. Now, when we get into this topic, you need to understand that lust is a very powerful emotion, thought process. I just leave it at that. It's very powerful, and it controls and has controlled our people for quite some time, even other nations, since the beginning of time. Lust, we're going to get into it. But when you are engulfed in lust and not understanding the true consequences or the outcomes behind it, you'll sometimes deem yourself on a one-way ticket to being damned or to damnation, So what we want to do in this class today is teach you about what lust is, some of the symptoms, some of the signs, the causes, the effects, and how to prevent it or how to deal with it, So that's what we're going to do. And also, I want to let you know that part of this walk, you're going to have to fight against your lust, against the temptations, as my brother brought out last week, the mighty brother Ezekiel, dealing with temptation. Temptation is actually what starts off the lust, That temptation, they go one and the same. But nonetheless, the lust is what we're going to be discussing today, because it comes in various different sizes and forms. You have lust that comes in sexual desires. You have lust of money, lust of power, and various other aspects of life. Lust. We're going to get into it to break it down and show you exactly what it means. Matter of fact, let's just go to the scriptures. I'm going to break out with the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 16. The book of, let me see. I'm going to put it on the screen for you so you can follow along, Make sure you're following along and taking notes, Hold up. Let me change something up right quick. That'll work. So let's go to the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, and we're going to go to verse 16. And it reads, all scripture is given by inspiration of Yahweh and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of Yahweh, or God, may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. So all scripture that you read is from the inspiration of the Most High, and it is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, correction, for instruction, how to live life in righteousness. To be righteous, you must keep the commandments. If you don't learn anything else about the Bible or today, learn and understand, my brothers and sisters, that righteousness, when you hear somebody say righteous, or I'm trying to be righteous, or what is righteousness, you should always be able to point them in a direction and to let them know that righteousness means to keep the commandments of God. That's what it is, to keep the commandments. So all scripture, anything you read in the Bible is for inspiration, to correct, instruct, and direct us in the right way. But what we want to do is go back up to chapter, verse 1, because like I said, it's supposed to be inspiration to teach, to show you things that are coming, and how to instruct yourself on how to conduct yourself or live life. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also that in the last days, perilous times shall come. So it's going to be hard times ahead of us. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. This is direction right here. This is instruction, letting you know what's going to happen in these last days, what you're going to see around you day in and day out. These are the type of individuals that you're going to run into and deal with. But you're going to have to turn away, but recognize the signs of the times, signs of the peoples, From there, let's go to the book of Mark. The book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 23. And it reads, and he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? So what we going into now, I'll just read it out. Verse 24, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end. No man entering into a strong man's house and spoil his good, except will he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. All right. Verily I say unto you, all sins are forgiven unto the sons of men, and blasphemies, wherewithsoever they shall blaspheme. But he that shall blaspheme against the Holy Ghost have never forgiveness, but is in danger of eternal damnation. So what is the Holy Ghost? The commandments. Blaspheming against them. That willingness, that spirit that wants you to learn and apply these commandments. But I read the first part to show you that if Satan rises up against himself, Yahweh was letting us know that he would not stand, but have an end. So being in this truth and understanding who we are, we have to stand united in Yahweh, because if we are divided, then we cannot stand. You see that? But it's also saying all sins shall be forgiven of the sons of men, and blasphemies, wherewithsoever shall blaspheme. So blasphemies, lies, they'll be forgiven. All sins be forgiven. But he that shall blaspheme against the Holy Ghost have never forgiven. You see that? But is in danger of the eternal damnation. That's that one-way ticket to damnation. When you continue to go down that path and do what the hell you want to do and say the hell with the Lord or what he even told you to do, Now you see all men, but let's go to the book of Luke right quick. Because a lot of our brothers and sisters see that and say, see, all nations, all men will be saved. That's not what it's talking about. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 13. We're going to go to verse 3. And Yahushua said, I tell you nay, but except ye repent, ye shall all likewise perish. So now you might think, well, what was the previous verse talking about? Yeah, all you men who keep these commandments and repent shall be forgiven. But those who blaspheme and say to hell with keeping these commandments, you're not going to be saved. You're not going to be spared. You're going to perish. You're going to be put to death. It's that simple. Why would he put a task out there for us to keep the commandments and then save those who don't want to keep the commandments? Who don't even want to strive to keep them, want to make excuse, want to say that they are continuously done away with, to stay wicked as hell and justify their wickedness. Why would the Lord save them? Think about that. So all men ain't going to be saved. All of those who repent will be saved. Understand that. From there, let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 7. And it reads, and everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders. For I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. You see that? So the only way we're going to be saved is by doing the work and having the faith, meaning keeping the commandments and having faith in Yahushua and the Most High, that they are rewarders of the things that they say they're going to provide to us for putting in that work. Those individuals will be saved. Those individuals will escape the perils to come, to be preserved. I'm going to read on. Verse 9. Then shall they be in pitiful case, which have now abused my ways, meaning saying I ain't got to keep these laws, and that they have cast them away despitefully, shall dwell in torments. You see that? Verse 10. For such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me. So you didn't, you know what I'm saying, call some benefits, receive some benefits, some ups, some downs, but you didn't know the Most High. And even when you had this truth brought to you, you rejected it. So you're going to dwell despitefully in them torments. Verse 11. And they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when it had yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. So this is directed at them individuals that hear this truth, understand it, but say to hell with it. You hear the law, you understand it, you understand you got liberty by keeping it, but you said to hell with that and despised it. Let's read on. The same must know it after death by pain. After death by pain. You see that? And therefore, be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished. So this is the Most High saying, don't be worried about how the ungodly are going to be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is and from whom the world is created. Once again, that's another precept to show you what, that the earth, the world was created for the Israelites, for the nation of Israel. So instead of trying to worry about the ungodly, the wicked, the other nations, you need to be trying to make sure that you live in a righteous life so that you can be saved. Just like it said, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is. So that's the mindset that we need to have as a nation of people. We need to be figuring out and understanding how and what it takes to be righteous, and what is it going to take to be saved, and how are we going to be saved. This is the mindset that we have to have as a nation of people. We can't be worrying about the other nations. We can't be beating ourselves up. We need to be figuring out the answers to our problems. We need to be figuring out what it takes to be righteous and how to get saved. Because a lot of our people being lied to thinking that they saved right now. Well, if you saved right now, what's the point of you living the rest of your life? Think about that. Somebody got to be saved from the hell that we living in right now. Somebody. And it must be us because it's already written. But for now, let's go to the book of Romans. Let's go to the book of Romans, chapter 7. Because like I said, we going into what is lust? Dealing with lust, that one-way ticket to damnation. Let's go to the book of Romans right quick to figure out something about lust. Romans chapter 7, verse 7. And it reads, know ye not, Romans chapter 7, verse 1, excuse me. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law. This is Paul speaking, writing. He said, I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth. So the first thing you need to take from this verse is that Paul speaks to the individuals that know the law. If you don't know the law, you have no business reading Paul's letter, because you will be confused and you will damn yourself. Because the way that he's speaking code. For one, because he was locked up reading or writing these things. So he had to speak in code the same way that an individual will write today, knowing that the warden and the prison guard is going to read your letter. So you have to write in a certain manner so that the people who read it will understand, because it was written to them, even though other people will be reading it. They would get the understanding. Speaking in code, so to speak. I'm going to read it again. Romans chapter 7, verse 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion over a man as long as he liveth. So the law, he's speaking right there as well, saying the law got dominion over the man as long as he lived. He asking him a question. For the woman which have a husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. You see that? The same way as the woman is to her husband is the same way we are to the law. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. You see that? According to Babylon the Great, though, a woman can divorce her husband and go do what the hell she want to do. That's not according to the scriptures, though. You see that? Because when you read in the scripture, you're not going to read not one instance where a woman put away a man. The man had that right. But Babylon's influence that spread around the world tells women that they can do so. But it says the woman is bound to her husband as long as she liveth. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the law of her husband. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. You see that? But if her husband be dead, she is free from the law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. You see that? Wherefore, my brethren, ye are also become dead to the law by the body of Yahushua, that ye should be married to another, even to him who is raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit unto God. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the law, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. You see that? Because when we were just living in the flesh, even though we were supposed to be keeping the commandments, and we were breaking the law, offering up sacrifice, but we were still sinning. And some of those sins we were still being put to death for. But now we married to Yahushua, where we're not being put to death immediately for the sins that we commit. Some adultery and others breaking the Sabbath. But because we married to Yahushua, we still under the law. Understand it. But we supposed to be bringing forth good fruit, not fruit unto death. You know, I'm going to keep reading though. It says, but now we are delivered from the law, that being dead wherein we were held, that we should serve in newness of spirit and not in the oldness of the letter. Going into, like I just explained, keep the commandments, be in the spirit, but instead in past times we would be under the letter of the law, meaning when you break these commandments, certain ones, you would be put to death. Even though ultimately sin brings death, but back then, hey, you break the Sabbath, you would put to death right on the spot. You sleeping around with another man's wife, you would be put to death on the spot. You know, verse 7. What should we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. You see that? Because sin comes when you break the law. So he had not known sin, but he knew about the law. For I had not known lust, except the law has said, thou shalt not covet. You see that? Lust is another form of covetousness. Understand that. Let me jump to verse 12 right quick. It says, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. So the law is good. The law is perfect. The commandments are holy, just, and good for our betterment as a nation. It's supposed to keep us in line. We're supposed to keep the commandments to flourish, not break them and be put to death. That's what our people don't understand about the commandments. That's why when they read these letters, they get confused and figure they don't have to keep them anymore. And then they wonder why their people getting put to death, why we can't get ahead in life, because we're not keeping the commandments, nor having the faith. Our people got faith in white Jesus, Caesar Borgia, the Catholic version of Mary. You know, they believing in all these things, the oppressor, and not having faith in what's actually written, thus saith the Lord. But going back to verse 7, Paul said, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law has said, thou shalt not covet. So we understand that we under the law as long as we live, but we know that lust is to covet. Now let's look into something right quick. What does it mean to lust? Let's go to our Blue Letter Bible right quick, because it defines a couple words that you look into. Let's go right back to Romans 7. 7:7. Let's go check that out. Get our understanding right quick. What does it mean to lust? You said to covet. Let's go into covet. To desire, to covet, to lust, lust after, to feign, to turn upon a thing, to have a desire for, to long for, to desire, to lust after, to covet, of those who seek things forbidden. This is what actually lust goes into. What covetous means: to seek, desire things that you shouldn't desire after. You lusting for sexual reasons, for monetary gain, political fame or power, things of that nature. You lusting for the wrong things in this life. Matter of fact, let me go to show you something right quick. Let's go to Wikipedia, look under lust. It said lust is a psychological force producing intense desire for something or circumstance while already having a significant amount of a desired object. Lust can take any form, such as lust for sexuality, money, or power. And this is what people live their life for: money, sex, and drugs, or money, sex, and power. What the song was they made back in the day, money, power, respect. That's what they're looking for. They lusting after these things. That's what people live their life for: to stack up a bunch of money so they can be respected, stack up a bunch of money so that they can get all these different types of women to have sex with, stack up all this money to build a business so they can be in a position of power. Let's read on. It can take such mundane forms as the lust for food, which is another form of gluttony, as distinct from the need for food or lust for redolence, when one is lusting for a particular smell that brings back memories. Even people are drinking or smoking, popping pills, they continue to do these things, lusting after that first feeling that they had, that first high, that first buzz they had. It was so sweet to them. So they keep coming back trying to chase after that first time, that first smell, lusting after things that they should not be after, But we should be keeping the commandments nonetheless, because he said, I had not known lust, except the law said, what? Thou shalt not covet. Where do we find that at? Let's go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20. Go to the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 17, and it reads, Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. We are not supposed to be wanting the things that somebody else has, especially of our brothers and sisters, because it changes our mindset and it has us to lust after these things where we change up our mindset and we devote time and energy to things that we shouldn't even be striving for. Matter of fact, lust turns people into liars. Those are some of the consequences, not consequences, the results of being a lustful individual. You become a liar. You lie about the things that you're doing while you lusting, trying to get it. A deceiver, a manipulator. And your actions are all based on trying to get what? Trying to get that craving. Trying to get what you want. When you lusting, you smoking weed, you lusting, trying to have a good time. You lusting, trying to get that first high again. Same thing with sex. That's why the Lord tells us we supposed to be with our wives. What does society teach us? What does society show us? The complete opposite of what we're supposed to be going after. Bear with me right quick. Because this is what society actually teaches right here. We are all hypnotized by the television. Just like it says, tell a vision. But when we watch these visions, we become hypnotized. As if a damn shrink sitting there holding a watch in front of us. We are hypnotized to what they put on the TV. We begin to think that this is real. This is what we should be striving for in life. You know, what they put on the TV. A vision, which is a false vision. But these are the things that we look for. You know, just for instance, the temptation that they present to us as a people. Look at your car. When you get in your car, look at your dashboard. I know right here you see you got 240 on the dash. That's some type of sports car. But the average car probably got about 110, 120 on the dashboard. Now, you're not going to go anywhere in the United States where you're going to be able to drive 120, especially when speed limit say 70. So the question is, why do they put that on the dash? To tempt you. If you'll never be able to go that fast, why would they put it on the dash? To tempt you. And you're gonna be lusting after, hey man, I got to hit that speed. I got to smash that gas, see if it can really do it. And in the time you're doing it, the risk outweigh the reward. You know, you trying to find an empty highway or empty back road. Think about all the things that can happen just by you trying to see if your car can do what's on the dashboard. You trying to hit that 240 or that 120 or that 110. Get pulled over, lose track or lose control of the car blow, you know, wrecks. All these different things stem as a risk for you trying to see if the car can do the thing that's on the dash. I know you might say, well, that's simple. But why do they put it on there if you can't drive it? Just like smoking blunts, smoking cigarettes. We lust after these things because it's promoted to us. Even though they got the warning on the side of the box saying it's going to cause this type of cancer, this type of disease, we still like, the hell with it. I'm going to do it anyway. No one is destructive. No one is going to sooner or later put you to death. But we smoking it anyway, and it's being promoted to us. You know? That's what I'm talking about with these different lusts. They put these things in our face. They promote it to us through the magazines, through the TVs, the phones, the billboards. They promote it to us, and then it turns us to chasing after these lusts that we have no business chasing after. Just like the cell phones. It's promoted as a way to connect us, but it's actually a way to distract, manipulate, and disconnect us. I mean, when you at your own job, it used to be when break time came, the lunchroom was loud. People was talking, laughing, having a good time. You were at school, people was laughing, having a good time. Hell, even at the restaurants, laughing, having a good time. But now everybody's distracted by what's in the palm of their hand. They can't even go to sleep at night without scrolling on the phone. You go out with your loved ones to the restaurant, just like you see in this picture. They at the kitchen table, being distracted by the phones and tablets. You know, you wake up in the morning, first thing you do, grab the phone, trying to stay connected to everything, but it's actually distracting you from what's going on. It's manipulating you to doing things that you see on the phone, to thinking that that's what's making you unique. For instance, the last 5-10 years, I'll say 5, when all the women just started wearing wigs and weaves, reds and greens and blues, eyelashes 3-4 inches long. It's not unique, but the phone manipulates their mind to thinking that they are being different. But if every woman is doing it all around the world, that means it shows that you're being manipulated and you don't even realize. But you've been thought or been convinced in your own mind that you're doing something unique, something different. Once again, this is a lust that's been promoted to you, but it's actually used to destroy you. Here's another one. Think about this. The Bible says what? If you lay with a woman that's going to be your wife, that you should marry and you'll be undefiled, and fornication and adultery will be judged. So what does the world say? Here, wear this condom for your protection. But they really creating something for your destruction, for our destruction as a nation. What are you doing when you putting these condoms on? You going out, you're being a whore, you're being a whoremonger. You sleeping around, you destroying households, you're running your body count up. All because they promoted it to you, thinking that's a safe way to travel or live your life. And they promoted to you, even at a young age. They had sex ed teachers come into the schools, teach them at a young age, and even give them a bag of free condoms with information on how to use it. Give them out at the health department. What are they doing in society? Promoting whoredom. The Bible don't speak to that, to promote, to say that that's what we should be doing. But the world promotes that. And this is what we see going on. That's why we got to avoid the lust of this world. Don't follow the wicked, Let's go to the book of Proverbs right quick. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs, let me get chapter 4, verse 14. And it reads, enter not into the path of the wicked and go not into the way of evil men. Those slides that we were just looking at, those are the path of the wicked, to try to go and promote whoredom in the neighborhood within our nation using condoms. We're supposed to be married. Therefore, we have no need for that. Understand that. And when we jumping around using these condoms, once again, we running around using them condoms. All right, let me put it back on the screen. Using these condoms. Now, a brother, he laid down with this woman, that sister, another sister, that sister, that sister. Now he, I guess, building up his skill set, his experience level. But same thing with the sisters. Hey, body counts building up. Now, when you finally or actually find a brother and you lay down with him that you want to be married to, now you comparing his sex to the 5 other people that you've been with, or you comparing her sex to 5 to 10 other people that you've been with. This is what we see in society today. Whoredom is being promoted as if it's something to strive for. They do it through your music, through your movies, your TV shows, even the cartoons. They're promoting it at school, all over. The Lord ain't say that. We ain't supposed to be living in that manner. But these are the lusts that society promotes to us. Going back to Proverbs. All right. It says, enter not into the path of the wicked and go not into the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. So we ain't supposed to go down them paths. We ain't supposed to be listening to that. We're supposed to be teaching our kids, holding ourselves accountable. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. Excuse me. You see that the wicked, they can't sleep unless they do mischief and cause us to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. You see, they drink wickedness. They eat the bread of wickedness. So they're going to continue coming up with more schemes, more plots to keep us where we in sin on a constant. But the path of the just is as a shining light. That shineth more and more until the perfect day. So as we continue to be just, striving to be just, we're going to continue to shine and be that example to our brothers and sisters. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. Just like I showed you in that clip or in that PowerPoint once again. They're going to put that on the screen and say, hey, that's protection to help keep you from getting STDs or getting unwanted children. Our people will look at that and say, yeah, that's right. No, that's for your destruction, for your demise, for our demise as a nation of people. Because not only when we do these things, we go off and sin and the Most High judges us for our wickedness. So we got to keep that in mind as well. So what I want to show you now is another video, well, first video, actually showing you how wicked the other nations are and have us believing and trusting in them. And they expose the lies that are killing our people at a rapid rate. All right. Put this on the screen. I want you to pay close attention to what these people, what the doctors are saying.
Doctor, when we talk about cancer a little bit, various types out there, what are some of the things that you've seen in terms of your patients and what some of the things that you've been able to do?
A better thing to talk about in relationship to, well, I will talk about that, right? A better thing to talk about, however, is the relationship between profits and cancer in the United States. There was a study that was published, I believe it was in 1994.
1994.
It was a 12-year program, 12-year study. They looked at adults who had developed cancer as an adult, not childhood cancer, but adult cancer, right? And this is the main types of cancer that we get here in the United States. They did a meta-analysis of these people all around the world who developed cancer as adults for 12 years and were treated with chemo. And they looked at the results.
Treated with chemo, 12 years, did a study.
And they published the results in the Journal of Clinical Oncology.
Clinical Oncology. Look that up if you get a chance.
And the results, 97% of the time, chemotherapy does not work.
97% of the time, chemo does not work. My people, do not engulf in that. Go back to what actually works, the herbs. Stop listening to your enemy. Your enemy knows that it doesn't work. And they blowing the whistle right here.
97% of the time it doesn't work. So why is it still used? It's one reason and one reason only. Money.
Money.
If you go to a medical doctor, an MD, with a sinus infection, and that doctor prescribes an antibiotic, he gets no financial kickback. Now, if he prescribes 5,000, of that antibiotic in 1 month, the drug company that makes it might send him to Cancun for a conference, right? Mm-hmm. But he gets no direct remuneration. It's not with chemotherapeutic drugs, it's different. Chemotherapeutic drugs are the only classification of drugs that the prescribing doctor gets a direct cut of.
You see that? They get a cut. They're getting paid for subscribing or prescribing chemotherapy. They know it doesn't work, but they doing it anyway just to get paid.
So if your doctor prescribes chemotherapy for you, here's how it goes, more or less. The doctor buys it from the pharmaceutical company for $5,000, sells it to the patient for $12,000. Insurance pays $9,000, and the doctor pockets the $4,000 difference. And there ought to be a law. The only reason chemotherapy is used is because doctors make money from it. Period. It doesn't work 97% of the time. If Ford Motor Company made an automobile that exploded 97% of the time, would they still be in business? No. This is the tip of the iceberg of the control that the pharmaceutical industry has on us.
You see that? Now, I'm not going to play the whole video. You can check it out whenever you get a chance. You can see the title up here. All right. But I brought that out because our people trust in the enemy and not knowing how truly wicked they are. Just like we read in Proverbs, it said they can't sleep unless they do some mischief, unless they cause something to fall. And lust, as we read earlier, is a desire or want for something, especially some things that we don't need. Now, we trust in our enemies, and we believe that they have the cure for the disease that they diagnose us with. But in actuality, they diagnose us with things just so they can do what? Poison us and get paid. They basically killing two birds with one stone. They getting paid, putting money in their pocket, and they knocking off the people that they hate, the Israelites. Because we trust in oppression. The Lord said, I made all the herb-bearing seed herbs for you. The things of the earth are the medicine that heal you. But we trusting in them with chemotherapy. Don't know what is it, what's actually in it, where it comes from. We have no idea, but we trusting in them. And then you see our people consistently dying. You don't know the reason why you got it or how to prevent it, but you trusting in them, and they already know that it does not work. Just wanted to bring that out. But going back, let's go to the book of Job. The book of Job, chapter 31 and 1. Because what our people don't understand is that we, as a nation of people, when we are involved in lust, our vision is impaired, just like being drunk or high. You start staggering, your vision is blurred, your talk, your vocals are slurred, but your vision is impaired. You can't see the things that you should be because you involved in lust. You engulfed in lust, you know. But I'm going to show you this in Job right quick. So what we went into, or what we're going into, is actually telling you that lust actually comes from the eyes, from what the eyes see. You know, this is the book of Job, chapter 31, verse 1. It said, I made a covenant, meaning an agreement, with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? So Job, it's like I'm making an agreement with my eyes not to be looking upon a maid for sexual lust reasoning. You know, he knew these things. That's why Job was considered perfect. You know, Yahushua spoke on this as well. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5 right quick. Matthew 5 and 28. And it reads, but I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her have committed adultery with her already in his heart, meaning in his mind. So if you looking upon a maid, looking upon a woman, and you lusting, like, damn, man, hey, she looking nice over there. Hey, I like the way that body curving. You looking like that, you lusting after, and you committed adultery in your mind already. That's why Job said, I'm going to make an agreement with my mind. Look, you turn, you look, you turn. You know, you got to be able to rule over your spirit and understand what's going on. Matter of fact, let's go to the book of Proverbs again. Proverbs, a book of wisdom. That's where we got to go. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28, and it reads, he that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. So if you read anything about cities in past times, in ancient times, they would always have a wall around their city to protect and keep unwanted individuals out and to protect the people within. So he that have no rule over his own spirit, meaning your spirit, whether you can't control how you act, how you talk, your temper. If you have no rule over your own spirit, you're just like a city with no walls, broken down, no protection. You liable to do anything. You liable to accept anything to come your way because you have no rule over your spirit. So you see that woman, you like a horned dog. You know, you humping anything that walks because you have no control over your spirit. These are the things that we have to come back to as a nation of people. And that lust going to eventually end up costing you or sending you down that road of damnation, you know. catching that STD that you was using that protection to try to avoid. Running up in another man's wife and being put to death because you committing adultery and she didn't tell you the truth, or vice versa, you know, or the Lord just judging you, period. You got to be able to rule over your own spirit and know what's right and what's wrong, you know. But from there, let me show you another video clip. Try to get through this as quick as I can. Don't want to hold you. Know your time is valuable. But let me show you the dangers of lust. Just a quick little YouTube short. Make sure it's on the screen.
Is that lust is not sustainable. Once it is satisfied, it will turn off. And
so you trying to fulfill lust, once you get it, it'll be turned off for a moment.
This is why the advice that when you're dating is that actually, if a man cannot constrain himself and constrain his desires, then is that really love? If a man has an issue with controlling his desires before he gets married, just because he gets married doesn't mean it's going to switch off.
You see that? So if you got issues controlling your spirit before you get married, when you get married, it's not going to change anything. You got to be able to control your spirit, control your lust.
Because what we believe is in covenant. And if he can't covenant himself to God pre-marriage,
meaning making an agreement, being disciplined before marriage with the Most High,
he won't be able to covenant himself to you post-marriage.
He won't be able to do it after you are married.
This is why the Bible talks about the fruits of the Spirit being gentleness and love, and all of these things is about controlling what is in your heart pre-marriage. The thing with
I'm gonna play it through it one more time.
Lust is that lust is not sustainable. Once it is satisfied, it will turn off. And so this is why the advice that when you're dating is that actually, if a man cannot constrain himself and constrain his desires, then is that really love? If a man...
You see that? Is it really love?
Man has an issue with controlling his desires before he gets married. Just because he gets married doesn't mean it's going to switch off. Because what we believe is in covenant. And if he can't covenant himself to God pre-marriage, he won't be able to covenant himself to you post-marriage.
See that? That's being lustful. You got to be able to control yourself at all times. All right. Now I'm going to go back. We're going to go to 2 Samuel chapter 11, just to get an example as to why and how we are supposed to be being able to control our spirits. Excuse me. Let's go to the book of 2 Samuel chapter 11, and we're going to go to verse 2. And it came to pass at an eventime that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. And the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came into him, and he lay with her. For she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. So David came out on the roof of his house looking around, and he didn't see this woman taking a bath. And he called his men to go get her, brought her back, and he laid down with her and sent her back home. He said, and the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. Now she's pregnant. All right, jump down to verse 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah, her husband, was dead, she mourned for her husband. When you read all the way down, you'll realize that David, once he realized this woman was pregnant, he sent to have her husband put to death, basically. Put him on the front lines in battle to have him put to death. So then when this happened, word got back to the wife, and she mourned for him. Then, let's see, verse 27, and when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. He did a incredibly wicked act right there. Committed adultery. He lied to their brother, and then had him put to death. All for lust. All for lust, a desire because he wanted to be with this woman. Now keep in mind, David had multiple wives. But when he seen this woman taking a bath, his lust took over. His eye, what he seen, took over. And basically, it didn't force him, but he didn't fight against that lust. He didn't turn away. He didn't flee from it. He gave into it. And he had a man put to death behind that. And the child that they actually had, that the woman was pregnant with, actually died as well. You see that? Why? Because he couldn't control his lust. These are examples. These are what the testimonies are for in the scriptures, to show us how we are not to act or what we are supposed to do in certain actions. All right, I'm going to go to the book of Sirach right quick. Because David, as mighty as he was supposed to keep the commandments. That's what we're supposed to be focused on at all times. Not when we want to, not when it seems good or feels good, but when we want to. I mean, at all times, excuse me. All right. I'm going to go to the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 9, verse 8, and it reads, "Turn away thy eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire." So just as David seen this woman taking a bath, she was a beautiful woman. He was aroused, but he was deceived at the same time. And he went and did some wickedness. She didn't cause him to do these things, but his lust for her beauty caused him to do these things. Verse 9 says, "Sit not at all with another man's wife." That's supposed to be the commandment that he followed. "Nor sit down with her in thine arms, and spend not thy money on her with her at the wine, lest thy heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction." So you ain't supposed to be chilling with another man's wife, drinking with her, at the bar, at the club, going out to eat. You ain't supposed to be doing that. Because the minute you do it, you're going to go to hell off, and you're going to fall into destruction. That's simple right there. Sit not at all with another man's wife, nor sit down with her in thine arms. Don't be hugging up on her. Oh, it's going to be okay. Rubbing her shoulders, rubbing her back. And spend not thy money with her at the wine. Come on over, we can drink some. Netflix and chill. You can tell me what's on your mind. Nah, that's wicked as hell. When you do so, you're going to fall into destruction. Understand that. But from now, let's go to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 63. 2nd Ezra, chapter 16. And we're going to go to verse 63. And it reads, "Surely he knoweth your inventions, and what ye think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin." So the Lord see all these things. He see your thoughts before you act and while you was thinking it. He see your thoughts. He see your wicked inventions. How you setting up, you know what, my husband going out of town, you know what I'm saying? I can act like I'm going to spend the night at my mama's house or my sister's house, but I'm really going to shack up with Tito down the street, or my long lost, or my work boo, whatever you want to call it. The Lord see your wicked inventions, you know. Verse 64, "Therefore have the Lord exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame." He's going to bring you to light. Understand that. The Lord know our sins. He know our ways. He know our thoughts. But a lot of us think we slick and can get by. You know, if my husband don't see it, my wife don't see it, if they don't see it, I'm good. Hey, the Lord see it all. The Lord know we wicked. A lot of us are wicked. It's a small remnant of our people that's going to actually wake up and repent and turn back to who they're supposed to be and do the righteous acts, you know. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 9 right quick, just to prove that Paul knew it. The other brothers and sisters in this truth knew it. The book of Romans chapter 9 verse 6, excuse me. Not as though the word of God have taken none effect, for they are not all Israel, which are of Israel. You see that? All of our brothers and sisters ain't Israel. I mean, there's a lot of people that you will go talk to, try to teach. We go out to the highways and byways quite a bit. And it's a lot of us that don't want to accept the fact that they're Israel. A lot will, but a lot will not. And even those who say they are Israel, they commit acts to show that they are not Israel. You know, for all, not all Israel, which are of Israel. All right. I'm going to go to another video right quick. All right, bear with me. Let me see. Quick little video, but powerful nonetheless.
Hope y'all are having a blessed day. So I was watching this show about this guy. He started off as a good person. You know, he started off as a good person. He wanted to do great things. And as the show continued on, he gained this power to where he can see the future. He could see the outcome of the future. So the more he gained power, he started taking matters into his own hands. And he would talk to his best friend about creating this future without war. It'd just be peace, a peaceful future for him, his friends, and family. So to make a long story short, he ended up trying to shape and mold the future into his image. But he didn't succeed. And he came to his best friend in a vision. And he told him, he said, I got a little bit of power. And I thought I can change the outcome of the future. And he started crying because he wasn't able to change the outcome.
One good way that you can help build urgency in the sale is asking what are called consequence questions. Now that's called an NEPQ consequence question. So consequence questions help you build urgency in that prospect's mind that they need to change their situation now, not keep pushing it down the road. So what is the goal of consequence questions? We're getting them to feel what the consequences are if they don't do anything, where they internalize the consequences, they feel what's going to happen if they stay in the status quo and their problems stay the same and nothing changes. So generic version would be this: John, what happens if nothing changes? Now I'm going to say that in a concerned tone because that's how the prospect interprets why I'm even asking the question. Or what are the consequences if you don't do anything about this? Or this one, what are the ramifications if you're...
After that happened, the Heavenly Father spoke to me. And he said,
sorry about that, Israel.
The lust of power. What will you do if I gave you power? That hit me like a ton of bricks. Because the Heavenly Father said, there's so many people that he have given power to. And they start off good. But the more power they gain, they lose themselves in between the transition. They start off one way, then they become something else entirely. Some people change because they may lose a loved one. Some people change because of revenge, unforgiveness. Then some people change because they want to control people. And the Heavenly Father said that's the lust of power.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Heavenly Father want to put you in a better position in life. But you first must understand your role, your position. What will you do with power?
That's a mighty statement right there. You know, you got to understand your role while you're trying to move to powerful positions. You know, for instance, you know, a man trying to be a husband, that's a powerful position because you are responsible for your wife and for your household. That's a powerful position. Do you know your role? Women, you want husband? Do you know your role? Do you know how to be submissive? How to support them? You know, these are the things that you have to question yourself about. You know, are you going to get in those positions just so you can rule over somebody else? Or are you actually trying to build and push your family in the right direction? You know, you have to consider the things that are laid before you. Like the brother saying, the Lord puts you in a position to see what you're going to do with it. You know, are you going to make the best out of it? Are you going to live, thus saith the Lord? Or are you going to get in this position and just go off your own feelings and your own motives and thought process? Think about that. But nonetheless, I'm going to go to another example in the scriptures to show you how people will lust for several different things. One being power. All right. Let's go. Where we at? Let's go to 2 Maccabees. Chapter 4. Second Maccabees chapter 4. We're going to go to verse 7. All right. It says, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias was the high priest, labored underhand to be high priest. So this brother's own biological brother was laboring, doing some underhand wickedness to try to take his position to be the high priest, promising unto the king by intercession 303 score talents of silver and another revenue 80 talents. So he's trying to promise the other nations, the wicked, I'll give you this if you help me get in this position. All right, verse 9. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise. That's where you get your gymnasium from. And for the training of youth in fashions of the heathen, and to write them on Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. So this is where you get your gymnasiums. This is where you get us training to try to be like the other nations. Your discus, your Olympics, training to be just like them. We didn't move in that manner. But because this man wanted to be the high priest, he wanted to set up a covenant with the heathen and act just like them. You know, verse 10, which when the king had granted and he had gotten into his hand the rule he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashion. So this man, Jason, was underhandedly trying to turn his people into the Greeks. Understand how wicked that is. Turn from the covenant of our fathers to do his own will. All right. And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the mean of John, the father of Eupolemus, who went ambassador to Rome for amnesty and aid. He took away in putting down the governments which were according to the law. He brought up new customs according to the law, customs against the law, excuse me. You see that? Brought up customs to go against the law. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself and brought the chief young men under subjection and made them wear a hat. This is the same thing that goes on each and every year for each major sport, professional sport. They get drafted, standing up there in subjection and being drafted after being examined by being on them auction slave blocks, you know, standing up there on the podium, being drafted by this NBA team, that NFL team, this MLB team, this soccer team. They do this every year, not knowing that all this that's going on right now is biblical. You know, let me just put a visual up there right quick. Standing up on the podium. As soon as they get drafted, what do? They put their hat on. Understand that. It's all biblical. It's no coincidence. Let's go to NFL. Same thing. Got a hat on. Got a jersey. Hat on. Jersey. You got to think to yourself, why is it that they give them hats? Why they don't just give them a jersey? Why they got to put a hat on? It's all biblical, you know. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increase of heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priests had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth. So they put down the priest duties to go be referees, to be coaches, strength coaches. You know, verse 15, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. Still going on today. As the brother brought out a while back, class dealing with all the different fraternities, the Greek fraternities. Loving the glory of the Grecians best of all. They even branding themselves with the same icons or the same letters that the Greeks use. It's no coincidence. It's no accidents, my brothers and sisters. Everything is biblical. That's how we know that the Bible is a true book. From there, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 12. Deuteronomy chapter 12. We're going to go to verse 29. And it reads, when the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them. After that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God. For every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. So we ain't supposed to be striving to be like the other nations. But what did Jason do? He went and got permission from them to make a covenant, and he's gonna pay them to let him open up a place of exercise, train up the youth to go compete against them. Of course, they're gonna sign off on it. That means that we are in sin. That means that the Lord won't be fighting for us. That means that we'll be entertaining them just as we are today. Lustful spirit, or lust to be in power, causing his people, our people, to go to hell off and be in sin. But for now, let's go to this video right quick, because just as we were explaining, we ain't supposed to be going into being like the other nations. We got to understand this as well. Do not pick up their ways. Don't destroy yourself trying to be like them. And this is actually disgusting when you think about it. But our people will go through great extremes to try to do something wicked. What you see on this screen right here is a baby. A baby with a perm in her head. Why are we doing this? Crime is burning. Why are we doing it? Why are we doing this? We trying so hard to be like them, to be accepted by the other nations, that we would burn our babies here, just like we read in Deuteronomy. The other nations had their children to pass through the fire. We actually doing that by burning our hair, perming our hair, showing how much we actually hate ourselves, trying to assimilate and be accepted by the ones who hate us. That's crazy as hell right there. But I had to bring that out. Seen that the other day. I said, man, I got to teach my brothers and sisters. I got to show this, man. This is ridiculous. All right, let me go back to the book of Sirach right quick. I'm trying to move as fast as I can. Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 9. Where we at? Where we at? Ecclesiastes chapter 9. We're going to go to verse 11. And it reads, envy not the glory of a sinner, for thou knowest not what shall be his end. Delight not in the thing that the ungodly have pleasure in, but remember they shall not go unpunished unto the grave. So mothers, fathers, stop hating yourself and stop teaching it to your children. Stop envying what you see the oppressor do. Stop trying to straighten your hair to look like Becky and Karen and Darren. You know, cut that out. Envy not the glory of a sinner. Well, why they got that type of house? Maybe I need to cut my beard off so I can be on TV. Nah, that's wicked as hell. Don't follow their ways. Don't delight in that either. Go cutting your beard off and then try to justify it and then teach it to others. That's wicked as hell. Stand up for the Lord. Stand up for your people. Do something righteous in your life. You know? Understand what's going on. From now, let's go to the book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and 11. The book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 11. And it reads, also have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. So, you know, instead of trying to follow the ways of the heathen, have no fellowship. Don't be trying to do the things that they do. Don't be following after the wicked deeds of your ancestors, trying to live a so-called fruitful life here in this wicked kingdom. That's unfruitful. You got the baby, the permanent baby head, the baby hair. It's supposed to be curly and soft already. What are you permanent for? How about you learn how to comb it and style it rather than permanent and damaging the baby before she even able to walk? Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove, correct them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done to them in secret. That's a shameful thing to see that. For them to even be thinking on that level. For Jason to even do what he did. For David to do what he did. Those are shameful things to even bring up. You know? So you want to make sure that you live a life blameless. Making sure that your garment is spotless. Your spiritual garment is spotless. So that people don't have anything to say negative about you. You know? People going to talk regardless, but you want to live a life where people can't speak down on you. They can just speak at you, you know, trying to bring you down. But nonetheless, let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 59. Because we'll make mistakes in life and we'll be like, man, I can't do it. I can't keep pushing, you know. And why do you have that thought process? It's a reason for everything. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 1. Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities, meaning our sins, have separated between you and your God, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear. So it's because of our sins, our iniquities, that cause us to feel distant, separated from the Most High. And when you calling upon him for different things, he don't hear you because you're in wickedness, because you're in iniquity, you're in sin. But when you're doing the things that he actually asks you to do, he'll hear you, he'll save you. But keep that in mind as well. Moving on, let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 25. Because like I said, when you read the scriptures, you understand that we have different testimonies written all throughout the Bible to show you how strong our forefathers were, how they fought against lust, just like Moses did. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 11, verse 25. Said, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God, meaning his own people, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. You see that? Moses, he was raised in Pharaoh's palace. You know, he learned everything that they learned. He was able to eat good, live good. But when he actually understood what was going on, he chose rather to suffer affliction with his people rather than enjoy pleasures and be in sin. You know, that's how we got to be in these last days. understanding truly what's going on. So let's move on to some of the solutions to dealing with lust. Some of the solutions. Let's go to Psalms chapter 119 and verse 11. And it reads, "Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee." So one thing we got to do when these lusts or these temptations pop up, and we see these different things through our eyes, we got to have those precepts. We got to have the word hid in our minds so that we don't sin. Sirach chapter 18, verse 30. Sirach chapter 18, verse 30. And it reads, "Go not after thy lust," that's a commandment, "but refrain thyself from thine appetites." You know, you want to eat them 2 20-piece nuggets. You want to turn up a whole 6-pack, a 12-pack. Hey, don't go after your lust. Refrain from them appetites. You want to be with that woman, with that woman, with that woman. Hey, refrain from them appetites. You know, those things, like my brother Bernard bring out, they're not expedient. That's what Paul speaks on. They're not sinful, but they're not expedient. You know, well, sleeping with all them different women is, but I'm saying eating this food, trying to eat up everything, hey, it's not expedient. It's not what you need. So you got to refrain yourself from appetites. Read on. "If thou givest thy soul the desires that please her, she will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee. Take not pleasure in much good cheer, neither be tied to the experience thereof." So don't give in to these different desires just to please yourself, because it's going to end up making you a damn fool in the end. You know, it'll make you a laughing stock. So go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites. Let's go to 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 2. And we're going to go to verse 21. And it reads, "If a man therefore purge himself from these lusts, these sins, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified, and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. Flee also youthful lust, but follow righteousness," meaning the commandments, "having faith, charity, peace with them that call on the Lord out of a pure heart." So you need to flee from lust and be with those individuals that call on to the Lord with a pure heart. Understand that. You got to call on the Lord. You got to be with those individuals who are going to help keep you in line. You know, that's what we all need. A brother or sister to stick with you to help keep you in line, to help strengthen you when you falling weak, when them lusts is trying to take over. You know, you got to flee that, but follow righteousness, meaning follow the commandments and be with your brothers and sisters. All right. From there, let's go to Romans chapter 13. Got like 3 more precepts and I'll be done. Book of Romans chapter 13, verse 13. And it reads, "Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but put ye on the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof." Don't be making provision for the flesh. You know, and trying to set up things just so you can do wickedness. You know, don't do that. Don't make provision for the flesh. You trying to rush home so you can roll up a blunt. You trying to go to the club so you can get drunk and look at some women. Hey, don't do that. Don't make provision for the flesh. Understand it. From there, let's go to Psalms 19. Book of Psalms, chapter 19. Let me see here. Psalms chapter 19, verse 12. And it reads, "Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults." So you want to ask the Lord to Cleanse you from your thoughts, from your wicked thoughts. Cleanse you. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. So pray for cleansing from your thoughts and let them not have control over you. That's what you got to pray for. You know, sometimes those lustful spirits will have more control or more power than you are used to dealing with. And in that case, you got to go fight. In what manner, though? Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 17. We're going to go to verse 21. And it reads, I'll start at 19. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could we not cast him out? So it was an evil spirit, a demon that was on this man. Yahushua cast him out. So they coming back to him and asking him, why couldn't we cast him out? And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief, for verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind, meaning that powerful spirit, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Prayer and fasting. So sometimes you're going to have them lustful spirits that are more powerful than others, you know, like those smoking cigarettes, smoking blunts, you know, sex, pornography. You're going to have these spirits on you, and you're going to have to deal with them by prayer and fasting. Admitting that you have a fault to the Most High, asking him to help you, and fasting, disconnecting the flesh from the things that you feed it on a daily basis. Fasting, disconnecting the flesh from the spirit, and connecting the spirit more so to the Most High. That's how you get them spirits off you. That lustful spirit, that sex demon, that weed demon, that pants demon, you know, that alcoholic demon that just had you ranting and raving. You know, you got to pray and fast to get these things off. But nonetheless, let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. That's where I'm going to end at. Now, you know what? Go to 1 Peter. All right. This is the last verse. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. So, be sober, be vigilant. Understand you're going to have to fight against lust. Sometimes you're going to fall, but you got to keep getting back up. It's like the scriptures say, paraphrasing, a righteous man going to fall 7 times, but you got to keep rising. You got to keep fighting. Keep learning and building yourself up. Build your spirit up. Don't keep giving in to the same spirit. You got to keep fighting. You know, you got to hide them precepts in your heart, in your mind. You got to be around brothers and sisters that's going to hold you accountable. You got to be willing to listen to that correction, that rebuke. You know, you got to be constantly praying, you know, and fasting in order to defeat these spirits, these lustful demons that be on you. You know, why? Because you know that you need to, and you wouldn't be doing the thing that you do right in front of your house shot. So you know you got to continue to fight day in and day out to get yourself right while the time is at hand. But nonetheless, be sober, be vigilant, be alert, be sober, understand what's going on, because you're going to be tempted day in and day out. And when you see certain things, that's going to cause that lust to come out of you. But you need to be able to determine what should you be going after. Is it beneficial for me, my family, for my nation? If not, put it down. Flee from it. But on that note, I pray and hope you brothers and sisters learn something tonight. I'm your brother Ananias for A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. And I pray and hope that you brothers and sisters learn something. We want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua for the abundance of all things. And you brothers and sisters who in this truth, keep pushing day in and day out. And Lord willing, we get up out of here sooner than later. But on that note, I'm out of here. Shalom, shalom, peace and greetings to you all. I love you, and I'm out.